In Black. He's originally from China and one of the few comedians to perform comedy in their second language, and he's got some shows coming up. Let's say hello to He Fangzhou with us. Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is great. Now, when did you come to Canada?
About 10 years ago for university.
Okay. And so you didn't speak English at all?
Well, I studied a lot of English, but it was more about writing. I was so good at spelling, but I couldn't talk. That's how the Chinese English class was focused on.
Okay.
Just writing and reading, and that's it.
Okay, so now you, as I mentioned, are one of the few comedians to perform with English as a second language. I mean, it's got to be kind of scary to get up there.
It is scary, but at the same time, I see things that local comedians couldn't see. I play with the language, they probably don't find some words funny, and I do from a Chinese perspective.
Okay. Is it a challenge then when people heckle you, like yell out things at you, and maybe perhaps you don't quite understand why they're doing that?
I have no problem with that because when people just heckle me, I don't even understand what they're talking about, so it's easy to go through.
You just let it go. That's good. That's good. Okay, so you are at Yuck Yucks until the 10th. This weekend you're there, basically downtown Elgin Street. Can you tell me some of the different things you've noticed between Chinese and Canadian culture?
Very different. So we have the St. Patrick's Day here, and people wear green. And Chinese people don't do that at all. And green is a terrible color in Chinese culture. Do you want to know what that means in Chinese culture?
No. I'm afraid to ask. What does it mean?
Oh, it's just culturally in China, if someone being cheated, and then this person will wear green.
Really?
Yeah, that's not a good color to wear as a group.
Okay, so St. Patrick's Day is out for you. The March 17th,
no,
you
never
don't do
experienced.
That. When did you first start doing comedy then? Did you do comedy when you were in your native land, China?
Absolutely. I was doing the Chinese traditional comedy, which usually has two person on stage, and we dress like the Pope, very serious comedian. Like people here don't even think people like that will be the comedian, but that's a different format of comedy.
Okay, so then once you came to Canada, as you mentioned 10 years ago, when did you start doing English comedy?
I really got my inspiration from, the ethnic comics like Russell Peters. I was thinking about it right after I graduated from university in 2017. I just made a decision, move to Toronto from Waterloo, and start going open mics. And then several months after, I just hit the road, do comedy in different cities.
That's great. So you did mention Russell Peters, one of your major influences. Are there others?
Yes, a comedian who used to live in the States. He was American Chinese. He had no comedy background at all, but he won the American national competition, and he even performed in front of the president at their correspondent dinner. I was like, wow, if someone like him could kill that, I can probably do the same.
Of course. You can do it, and I have seen you do it. I know that you performed at one of my charity events, and you're great, and you're always performing at Yuck Yucks. So what is your style then? Because as we're watching this interview, it's tough to tell. You're a pretty low-key, kind of quiet guy. Is that your style on stage?
I adjust my energy sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm more of a storyteller. I used to do a lot of stereotype, and now when I travel a lot of my stuff are traveling stories.
And you have been traveling quite a bit.
I travel nonstop from coast to coast. I just came back for the West Coast.
Did you really? So right across Canada. So can you tell me a story about you being on the road?
Oh yeah, it's that's about traveling. Is like when you travel, just funny things just come to you automatically. Like I was checking at a hotel, they wouldn't give me access to Wi-Fi because my last name only has 2 letters.
Okay, because your last name is your first name. Is that how it works?
That's how. Unfortunately, first name, last name, first name.
Okay, so you didn't get Wi-Fi? Is that what
Well,
you're saying?
I had to add some letters to my last name so my last name in that hotel become .
Okay, that's fun. So this weekend you are at Yuck Yucks, and can you tell me about some of the other people performing with you?
Yes, there are 2 local favorites, Chris Boris and Ashley Kurchenko.
Yeah.
And then Gerald are from Toronto.
Yeah, nice.
And then I'll be me, 4 of us will entertain.
And people can heckle whatever they want to you.
I have no problem with that.
Fine. Yeah, you write your own jokes?
Absolutely.
Does it take a long time?
It takes me longer because I need to make sure the local people understand me.
Okay.
And yeah, it's always, but if I get it through, it's going to be unique stories.
Okay. Do you have a joke that's funnier perhaps in your native language that doesn't translate as well in English?
Oh, totally. So about 30% of the jokes in China is, as I said, it's a two-person show like ours. If I somehow make myself become your father, that's funny to Chinese people.
Not here, not so much.
30% of joke is about that.
I kind of lost you there too. You're my dad now. Okay, very confused. Okay, so a bunch of shows this weekend, and what's the best part about getting up there?
You just have the opportunity to tell people the story that they don't have.
We look forward to seeing you this weekend at Yuck Yucks. More daytime coming up on Rogers TV.